p.m. for the live sectoral presentation by the Minister of National Security, the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang. Also, you can view the presentation on Nationwide 90 FM's YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. So tune in to Nationwide 90 FM on Tuesday, April 29 from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's the live sectoral presentation by the Minister of National Security, the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is sponsored by the Ministry of National Security.
Interesting day for national security. I make a brief comment as I open my presentation. It's a good day for us because today the police reports to me that we are 36.1% murder less than last year. That means, Madam Speaker, that there is 131 Jamaicans who are alive today because of the effort and success of the police force in dealing with dangerous criminals. I understand there are two things happening. I'm dressed in blue, not only because I support the police call and demonstrate it physically, and they deserve all the support they can do. They're working hard for us. And not be critical of the others who have other thoughts, but I think it would be appropriate that if there are some people, many of them I gather, a few there are, but there are some significant leaders of churches involved, would at least be giving some consideration to the 230 families of lost people, lost their family members to criminal actors. There's a particular sector of that group, Madam Speaker, that I must pause before I go to my presentation. Orphans. There's nothing and no organization in the society that tend to deal with the orphans created by criminals. It's a serious error. I have them in my constituency. And I think of many. They are difficult to treat. I have cases I can recall. I just say the young man who was shot down in the presence of his three sons. I found the resource to send them to psychiatrists. Psychologists provide support for school, but the trauma was unbearable. Two are dead by the gun and one in jail. I have another today who saw his mother killed at 5, his father killed at 5, his mother at 7. We have given him everything he needs: clothing, support for home, schools. We've sent him to private schools, but the support for him, state-wise and community-wise and NGO-wise, is non-existent. The fact is, the entire burden falls on some of us who know and understand. So I'd love to think that those who are currently prepared to look at the police and assault them in a way would think of these victims. These are the pain, these are the sufferers of crime. Those of us who care for them understand the trauma they go through. It's impossible to do it by what we do as members of parliament. That literally involves almost full-time care. And it would have been, I surely appreciated that some of those who are preparing to wear black today would have found something to find these individuals. The police know them. Members of parliament from either side know them. And we need to find a way to support these really humble, young victims of crime, the orphans of crime. There are too many of them, and they are the prime recruits for further crime. So, Madam Speaker, that is my comment on what's happening, and I want to thank all the Jamaicans who found it appropriate to wear blue today and signal their support. For the police, men and women who as professional law enforcement of the Jamaican Consular Force are daily seeking to protect Jamaicans and expose themselves to significant trauma. The criminals of today are not afraid to shoot at police officers. And in some cases, they shoot their family members. They have a tough job, but they're doing an excellent work. They've committed themselves. So, Madam Speaker, it is my privilege today to deliver the 8th sectoral presentation as Minister of National Security. is one I regard with humility and gratitude. And I think I share the distinction maybe among the longest serving. Your friend was the other. National security has been one of the most challenging portfolios over the last 3 decades. Careful, that I'm going too fast. 3 decades, is all right. Allow it all the time there. I'm not going to go that long. I'm going to focus on the issue. I just touched the bottom. National security has been one of the most challenging portfolios over the last 3 decades. To have retained the confidence of our leader and Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Andrew Michael Horace, to lead in this capacity since 2018 has been crucial to advancing the investment in transformation and a high point of my political career. I want to thank the Prime Minister for his confidence. Madam Speaker, the saying, "There is no I in team," appropriately captures my sentiment for the various teams that support my being here today and have given me the support over the years to not only survive and do well in this particular challenging portfolio. First, to my family, my wife and children, whose unconditional support propels me every day and has been the base on which I could stand to take on the challenge in this ministry. The members of the Cabinet, who I've had the privilege of working with for the last 8 years, I want to thank them for their support and their continued my colleague member, we continue to share the vision and work towards building a strong and prosperous Jamaica. My Minister of State, my friend Juliet Cuthbert Flynn from the constituency of West Central Central. That giant of a lady, full of energy, still strong and still fast and still capable, as she is the Olympian in the hopes. Energy and vitality she brings to the work of the ministry is unparalleled. The operational work, you agree? The operational work of national security is carried out by agencies comprising some of the finest law enforcement officers, administrators, investigators, and analysts anywhere in the Western Hemisphere. JCF, JDF, MOCA, PICA, IFSLM, DCS. I must recognize the heads of these agencies for their outstanding leadership and unwavering commitment to a safer and better Jamaica. The team in the Ministry of National Security, led by the Permanent Secretary, Ambassador Alistair Stoneroof, currently in the House, and the Chief Technical Directors, like Close Protection Detail, to have worked alongside a dedicated management team, councillors, party workers, some are here, and community leadership of Northwest St. James constituency. They have stood with me in difficult times and remain deeply committed to building our communities and improving the lives of all Jamaicans. But critically, Madam Speaker, I owe a profound debt of gratitude to the citizens of the constituency. Their friendship, their love, and their support have carried me through. They believed in me, walked with me, encouraged me, supported me, and most importantly, voted for me. We are a democracy. In doing so, they chose Jamaica, embracing the vision of our Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Horace, to build a resilient and prosperous nation. Madam Speaker, our hero Marcus Garvey gave us the roadmap. Sir Alexander Bustamante gave us the mandate. And Andrew Horace gave us the mission. One God, one aim, one destiny. Jamaica strong and prosperous. Madam Speaker, in his recent contributory budget debate, the Prime Minister provided a clear vision for Jamaica's next chapter. At the heart of this vision is public safety and public order. These, Madam Speaker, are the very foundations, Madam Speaker, of a dynamic and progressive society. Having led the Ministry of National Security for the past 7 years, I know firsthand the significant transformation that has taken place within our law enforcement agencies. and the modernization of our laws and policies to make them more relevant and robust. That is why today I can stand here confidently and declare that our national security architecture is stronger than at any other time in our history.
Hear, hear.
Madam Speaker, our national security framework is strong, our personnel are highly trained, their operations are efficient. That is Jamaica's national security today. Strong, highly competent, efficient. While the Jamaica Constable Force remains our principal law enforcement agency, the other departments and agencies play critical roles in safeguarding our nation. These include the Jamaica Defense Force, always giving support, consistently giving support to the police force, but important in domain awareness, maritime and territorial. Interagency cooperation across government. The joint operations with the police in those and other areas. Youth and community engagement through the JNSC and Cadet Corps and community activity, and of course information operations to keep the public alert. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, our premier cybersecurity agency, recently received the President's Award from the International Association of Law Enforcement Intelligence Analysts, IALEIA. The Department of Correctional Service recently launched its year-long 50th anniversary, celebrating under the theme Excellence in Securing Rehabilitation and Reintegrating Lives for a Safer Jamaican. Brigadier Raj Macy is here in the house today. Institute of Forensic Science and Legal Medicine, which on the completion of the autopsy suite, which will be it is at this point on full completion, should be formally activated in another week or two, will be the finest legal medicine unit in the West, as good as any in the Western Hemisphere, and the finest in the Caribbean for sure. The Passport Immigration Citizenship Agency, critical in border control, have improved its reception at airport with the kiosk and e-gates, and we are moving towards adopting PNR, which is Passenger Name Record System, which will make it much easier to engage, but also increase the threat analysis and a move towards electronic travel approvals. We have a way to go with it. It's costly, but it will be there very soon. We have already acquired our contract with CETA, having there the capacity to accept the data, but we need more to ensure we can apply it. The Firearm Licensing Authority, of course, the Private Security Regulation Authority, the Police Civilian Oversight Authority, all agencies of the Ministry of National Security, which completes the architecture of the national security system. Together, these entities form an integrated security apparatus, working collectively to ensure the safety and well-being of all Jamaicans. Madam Speaker, I'd like to dedicate, however, this sectoral presentation to the men and women who serve within the various agencies of our national security apparatus. They work tirelessly and selflessly to protect our people, our communities, our homes, our borders, and our business. They have served the nation with distinction, often at the risk of their own lives.
Yes.
But, Madam Speaker, this year I will focus on the work of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the efforts we have invested in them over the last few years. The police are the gateway to our criminal justice system. As first responders to crime and disorder, they stand on the front line of justice.
Yes.
They uphold the law, they protect lives, and safeguard rights. Their presence brings order. Yes. Their actions build trust.
Yes.
The police are not just law enforcers who move among us, they are the fundamental pillar of the nation state. Madam Speaker, for more than 2 decades, maybe 3, crime and violence have been the primary concern of the Jamaican people.
Yes.
This has damaged public confidence, hindered investment, and disrupted the lives of our citizens. Right? But today, I can say with confidence, we are at what the management experts say are a tipping point in our country's journey to a safer and more resilient and prosperous society. We are beginning to see the results of our policies and investments in national security, and in particular in the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The tide has shifted. Our police officers, with the support of the government, under the leadership of this Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Horace, remains resolute in efforts to secure Jamaica and Jamaicans. I want to briefly remind us of where we are coming from before I go to what we are today. When the Andrew Horace-led administration took office in 2016, We inherited not only a security apparatus in disarray, a Jamaica Constabulary Force that was severely under-resourced, a JCF, Jamaica Constabulary Force, that was severely under-resourced and in dire need of change and transformation.
Yes.
Decades of underinvestment had left the force struggling to effectively combat crime and maintain law and order, yet they were battered by public commentaries, status. The level of crime and violence had surpassed the capacity that the JCF had given. Quite frankly, the force was so ill-equipped to address the evolving nature of criminality, the situation was alarming, and the rate of homicide was indeed overwhelming. Morale among the rank and file was low, and the state of force reflected years of neglect and underinvestment. To be more specific, Madam Speaker, a quick look at the office in 2016 reflected dilapidated physical infrastructure. Majority of police stations were really unfit for occupation. They were not closed by the public health authorities only because they were police. In a normal civilized society, all those buildings have been declared unfit for occupation. Manpower deficit. Prior to the integration of the auxiliaries in the JCF in 2014, by the then administration, the strength of the regular force was below 10,000, which meant there were more than 4,000 below their establishment level. But this merger was not an expansion of the number of law enforcement personnel, Madam Speaker, because the auxiliary force, as we call it, Island Special Constabulary Force, were already operating within the security system. Indeed, their expansion and recruitment over the years was more an attempt to expand the force on the cheap. They were merged into the force, and it still only took them to just over 10,000, which was still way below the accepted or what was the required establishment for the force in order to begin to address in any meaningful way the challenges posed by the criminal elements in our society. Amidst all of that shortage, the mobility of the fleet was an embarrassment to every Jamaican and every police officer. They were old, run down, and of all varieties of make and model that you could find in Jamaica. Some were gifts, some were borrowed, some were whatever they were. Indeed, Madam Speaker, I have to refer to a very recent incident. I was in my constituency on Sunday evening in Norwood, and a gentleman who, a taxi driver, he lived in the community, and he was, after I was finished speaking, he said to me, I want to thank you for one thing, MP. You know, not only can I walk in the night snow, but when the police used to come up here, I used to hear the police from way down the bottom, not them siren, you pang, pang, ping, pang, pang, because this big was falling apart coming up the hill. That's what I could hear. So, everybody knew police vehicle was coming. That was Chinese language. The vehicle was beginning to talk Chinese. But that was a reflection of not only what the police really was, but what was in the force and the nature of the resource they had. And even the public, humble people of the community could understand and appreciate the change, but recall what there was. Telecommunication and connectivity is critical, absolutely essential for modern police to operate. Officers in the field, what they had was totally unreliable and inadequate. Officers in the field often found themselves unable to relay critical information or receive communication. Therefore compromising operational effectiveness, officer safety, and the ability to respond to to citizens' calls. The technology was not existent. All operations were manual. I think, and the screen may see holding the big book, which was a symbol of the police, a book that was started way back in the 19th century and continues to be today. That was a symbol of policing. We are moving them. We are introducing digital transformation. The force, in fact, is moving aggressively to introduce the kind of technology that is required. Indeed, we think that in a very short order, they'll not only have, you will go to a station, as there's one in Harborview, one in Hopewell, but there are 51 stations currently outfitted with equipment, the communication, and the station record management systems so they can report. It's important to Mr. Speaker, so when you go into a station now, you'll see a young officer, a bright young Jamaican, a new uniform, sitting at a desk with a computer console. Ultimately, that officer will be able to not only record your complaint, but if there's an issue of breach of the law somewhere and someone is reported, they can find a license number, they can find ID, the record, the criminal record, all that is related to that individual, whether positive or negative, across the system. And whether they're in Negril or in Port Moran, they will be able to get the same data at the same time. It will be real-time connectivity. We are almost there. That is a symbol of the transformation. And I would pause and commend the effort of the police force. Not only the change started under Major General Anthony Anderson, former member of the Jamaica Defense Force with a 42-year service in security. But it's been taken to a new level by our present Commissioner, Kevin Blake, who has both the ability, leadership skill, and the qualification to head any corporate operation in Jamaica. Today he heads the Jamaica Police Force. The cumulative effect of these deficiencies, Madam Speaker, are poor working conditions, lack of equipment, stagnant career progression, Madam Speaker, which is often dependent on unknown factors, and constant public criticism left the moral of our police force at an all-time low. And the challenge of increasing criminals, the sophistication of criminals who had high-powered weapons, an increasing amount of resources, money to throw it, I would say, was in fact damaging the moral of our police force and rendering them almost very limited in dealing with this new challenge. That was the grim state of our law enforcement apparatus, Madam Speaker. Our approach to addressing social disorder and criminal violence has always been guided by a well-calibrated strategic response. The Prime Minister made national security a priority. Right? Managing our economy and getting on top of the criminal station was the #1 priority of the government of Andrew Michael Horace. Our approach, a strategic framework based on a holistic policy requiring strong enforcement measures, without any apology, in parallel with building and developing the police force while introducing effective social transformation. Madam Speaker, a lot of talk about what we have done in social transformation. We published this today. I bring an entire booklet, and it will outline annually we have spent over $1 billion in social transformation, albeit a significant amount focused in the zones of special operations, which I'll comment on later. But we have learned how to effectively intervene in these communities, and will ensure that it is scaled up in the third term, in fact, cover all of Jamaica. But we have been deliberate in using the state of public emergency, but they are not used indiscriminately. And I'd begin there because there has been much controversy about the use of state of public emergency. They are deployed strategically in exceptional circumstances. They are designed to reduce criminal violence. Questions have been raised about their effectiveness, and I'll demonstrate, not by just talk, but by the studies done by professionals to demonstrate clearly how the state of public emergency set the stage for improved public order and reducing crime. While there has been much debate about the use, the evidence of the effectiveness is undeniable. The first graph should be on the screen, showing the Jamaican situation, that after the state of the public emergency, there was a significant decline, and it was maintained. To use the term by the academics, the treated areas was quite different from the untreated areas. Their studies have proved the capacity of SOEs to rapidly reduce killings, suppress violent crime, and restore a sense of order in communities under siege of violence. A recent empirical study conducted by econometric and public policy scholars at the Florida International University, and in collaboration with other young Jamaican professionals across the U.S., employed a range of causal models to assess the effectiveness of the states of public emergency in Jamaica over both short and long term. The results were compelling. On average, across each police division, there was a 62% reduction in violent crimes following the implementation of the SOE compared to the same period prior to in the same divisions. 62% reduction. This decline was primarily driven by a reduction in murders, 56%, shootings, 58%, aggravated assault, 18%, robberies, 41%. Another diagram will appear below this to demonstrate that in clear empirical terms, not just the talk of those of us who support it philosophically, but in clear empirical. The red line shows what was happening before, the 90 days prior to introduction, and the blue line, 90 days post the introduction. One diagram has all violent crimes, and one is just focused on murder. In these types of evaluation, Madam Speaker, that provide us with reliable and robust causal evidence that Jamaica's use of SOEs has had a significant and measurable impact on violent crime levels as a deterrence across the years that have been used. Madam Speaker, Jamaica is not alone in recognizing the necessity for such measures. Over the last 2 years, several Latin American and Caribbean countries, including Trinidad and Tobago, Belize, Ecuador, let's go back, Honduras, and Peru have implemented state of public emergencies to swiftly curb spiraling homicide rates, save lives, and improve public order. According to a report from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, no fewer than 30 state of public emergencies have been declared across the Latin American Caribbean region between April 2020 and April 2023. But let me be clear, Madam Speaker, we have never suggested the state of public emergencies as a silver bullet for our crime problem. They are but one set of tools in a broader, multi-pronged strategy designed to restore law and order. That is why we have persisted in implementing a comprehensive policy for national security. This includes the expansion and the development of the police force. Madam Speaker, the expansion of the force was crucial. There are many people, including allegedly educated individuals and leaders, asking for things like proximity policing. But we didn't have enough police to even do routine work. And they were calling on the police, and when it didn't happen, they didn't have the community patrols, the policemen were accused of all kinds of wrongs. Madam Speaker, we set about to correct that in the force, and I know the force has set about to correct the issues in the community. Sustainable crime reduction policies and the coordinated work of all the relevant ministries, departments, and agencies. We are combining immediate enhanced measures with strategic investment in law enforcement and social investment programs. Again, I refer you to the booklet we have published today. My speech will be in another, is on the QR, that will be set out a bit later, but I thought it would be wise to publish this because the continuing dialogue and misinformation by many is out there. And there's much more that could go in that booklet. And as my Minister of State says, who has been very active on the field, she has been to graduation for psychiatric aids in various communities, to schools across the island with Live Good program and all that we see in that booklet. She has played a critical role as she manages that section, as she oversees that section of the ministry on my behalf. Every step we take is part of a deliberate, well-considered plan, not knee-jerk, always purposeful, and focused on achieving clear, measurable goals. We have made unprecedented investment designed to increase the capacity and strength of the entities of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. These investments have been broad-based and systematic, addressing both operational effectiveness and the well-being of our police officers. I repeat that, Madam Speaker. The investments have been broad-based, systematic, addressing both operational effectiveness and the well-being of our police officers. Since 2016, we have invested annually an average of over $9 billion in national security capital expenditure. Capital, as defined in our budget now, is capital, Madam Speaker. This is 3 times the average annual investment under the PNP regime of 2011 to 2016, and 21 times, Madam Speaker, the annual investment by the PNP regime of 18 years If you look on that diagram and that chart on the wall, Madam Speaker, and look at the green against the orange, it would be fair to say that those who were in charge of security in the years up to 2007 had no interest in the safety of Jamaicans. Absolutely no interest in public order and public safety, and the people were being murdered by the thousands at that time. A lot of talk, but look at that chart, Madam Speaker, that reflects the interests of those who were governing at that time, the first 18 years of a PNP administration. You can see the difference. Next 4 years, despite our quick short intervention, investment went up. Subsequently, we can see from 2016 a direct and decided and constant investment to ensure that the country had a police force that could respond to the level of criminality in the country. Our commitment in transforming and modernizing the JCF, Madam Speaker, is reflected in all the, not only in the years of expenditure, but focus on a number of critical elements that would give us a strong police force. Our sustained I apologize again. Getting yes. Oh, we get it, don't worry. It's right here. Areas of special note, Madam Speaker, members, and I have the team from the ministry that focus on this. Our sustained investment in human resources and training. In recruitment, our recruitment has enabled us to expand the resource capacity of the police force, bring it up to the approved establishment level of just over 14,000. Plus or minus a 90 from time to time. For the first time, the country has a trained establishment of law enforcement officers, police force. Madam Speaker, the members, recruitment continued even during COVID. We released Camp Berlin. Moving the facility at Twickenham Park, which is now seen as one of the finest police training facilities, meeting international standards. But the fact is, during COVID, despite of the crunch on the economy, we were able to lease Tranquility Bay, where we used it as a holding space until we could move in the training camp. We took on Camp Burley as well, and we have been able to train and graduate near 6,000 police officers since 2016. What this means, Madam Speaker, members on both sides, it allowed for more efficient deployment. So we could do what you talk about, proximity policing. At the same time, we have still maintained our special operations team. Not only the special operations team that is national, but every division now have an operations support team. We have structured patrols, from community patrols to special patrols in hotspots. Those are specialized units that could only come when we have adequate number of men and women in the force to carry out this kind of activity. And we assess on an ongoing basis, and we'll have discussion. The Commissioner will speak to me, and we'll discuss with the Ministry of Finance how to ensure we can optimize the effectiveness of this human resource, and if necessary, to gradually take it to another level. In addition, Madam Speaker, we have introduced comprehensive leadership and supervisory development programs to ensure that officers at every level are equipped to lead effectively in today's complex policing environment. I don't think anybody can question that. No. As some of my friends will say on the road, you know, when I hear a policeman talk after an accident now, I feel good about the police. Yeah. Simple reflection of the training being led by the current commissioner started when he was made deputy commissioner in charge of logistics in the police force, and a team around him that is committed to building high-quality professionals in the police force. We have expanded and modernized the police training curriculum, equipping officers with advanced investigative techniques, intelligent analysis capabilities, specialized operational skills, and importantly, how to interact with the law-abiding citizens at all times. On the question of technology, Madam Speaker, the police have made the integration of advanced technology into their operation a top priority. Some of these initiatives include equipping police stations with electronic station record and case management system to digitize the front office operations. And we are going to make the front office look better and fix it to not only have the computers, but to be welcome to members of the public. In fact, we redesigned it and renamed it. We call them reception areas, not guard rooms, because we're not guarding everybody who come in there. And it is built with more space, has sanitary facility, that the individual going to report a case can feel comfortable, and if they have to be interviewed, there's a private interview in every new police station for that purpose. Wonderful. To date, 51 stations are live with these systems. Hopefully, is a nice example on Harbour View. Small ones, but the big ones are in place as well. Readily come to mind, digitization of CRO is proceeding, it's not yet complete, and as management systems come in place, so we can manage all these things that we are putting in place. We have to ensure from motor vehicles to station don't run down before you replace them. We have a structured management system which will be integrated in the electronic system that you can do it, and the permanent secretary can stay at the office, check what's happening, why is this car still on the road, why is the station not repaired, so can the commissioner, and so too will be the minister able to do it. So they can manage the assets. We have invested heavily. We are getting results, but we must maintain it.
Yes.
A new fleet management system will be fleet management system across the island to enable real-time tracking, not only managing the system in terms of maintenance and repair, but we can track our vehicles. My good friend ACP Leonard Brown, I call him the Q of the police force for Jamaica, for those who remember the James Bond movies, but he is an assistant commissioner of police under Deputy Commissioner Karina Powell Hood, and reporting, of course, to the commissioner to ensure we manage our assets effectively and well. Currently, over 1,400 vehicles are being tracked through the system. So we can say where they are, where they should be, and we can call them, and the commissioner can, in fact, interact directly. Equipping police officers with electronic handheld devices and a wireless printer to facilitate the quick and efficient issuing of traffic tickets has significantly impacted road traffic accidents. There's more to be done, and other sections of the criminal justice system that need to get settled to ensure that the electronic system can, digital system can operate smoothly across the board. The Minister of Transport is moving aggressively to get the law and the IT up to date. Commend him. The Minister of Justice, a little bit slow off the ground, but because they have rear guard just in this kind of, they were still wearing the grey with helmets, but wigs, but they have taken it off, and they are moving quite systematically to bring some level of efficiency and digitization to the court system. These tools have not only increased operational efficiency and enabled faster decision making, and that's critical in crime matters today, that a commissioner or a superintendent can make a decision quickly, but not just arm to hip, but can take a rational decision to respond where, when, and how in real time. So that improves the quality of service delivered to a public. Madam Speaker, the process continues in earnest. The big books are being replaced by electronic system, and legacy records are being converted to digital files. And on that note, Madam Speaker, I cannot show you, but it will be remarkable to see the team of police officers on Harbour Street in particular, and I think Superintendent Henderson, my red CP, that manages the transference of data from these big books into the electronic system. Because you have to do that. This is a tedious part of digitization. Cannot go too fast. You have to get it accurate. Some of those old books, 13, 20-year-old, from 2013, 2015, have to have the data must be transferred correctly because they may still be called upon for evidence in the court of law. And there's a team of young police officers, including lawyers and officers, who are there under supervision of a police officer doing the transformation and doing it accurately and well. So it's going well. Our commissioner, Fortet, is not only someone who is an excellent leader and a good police officer, but he has training in that field. So as he has the qualification to lead any CO there. He's a mathematical computer trained individual. But as part of this modernization, of course, the connectivity and communication. A major milestone is our modernization effort has been the upgrade and expansion of P25 digital radio communication system. Yep. The police once had the most reliable communication system, the most resilient system, but it fell apart. We have upgraded and substantially increased communication coverage across the island, providing secure, reliable, real-time connectivity for law enforcement personnel across Jamaica. These enhanced communication capabilities have significantly improved emergency responsiveness, tactical deployments, and coordination among units, particularly during heavy operations. Madam Speaker, the National CCTV Surveillance Network, Jamaica Eye, has grown into a critical national security asset, enhancing our ability to monitor public space, deter criminal activity, and support investigative work. The community I went to recently with a member from the eastern side of the island, they call it the Eagle Eye, and have demanded of me to ensure that I get their Eagle Eye up this year. I gave her a commitment. We are buying some, we have ordered cameras, and it gives the community a sense of assurance. Even if they don't, the police has to be there to do the job. But by knowing that we have a 360 view all time, citizens feel more secure. Yeah. To date, over 1,200 cameras have been successfully integrated in the network, and we have already ordered the 2,500 to complete an island-wide network. Madam Speaker, we have established for the first time a modern fleet of police vehicles equipped with up-to-date technology. I have to say for the first time, Madam Speaker, while the previous jail administration did something in 2009, it was a single attempt then, but we are doing it on a systematic basis. We are setting up a fleet management system, and we intend that the police will ensure, by their own call, that we maintain a fleet of vehicles. The target is to have 1,600 vehicles operational at all times. But it's not just any vehicle, it's a police vehicle, a purpose-built vehicle, with its cameras, sirens, computer console, all that is required to come. This is a walking police operational unit that the police can communicate and keep in touch with all the headquarters at all times and to maintain them in good order. And you see a police vehicle, you know it's a police vehicle. And when it's coming, hope we don't have any accident. They have had some, but you're not going to hear ping pong coming up the hill. They're coming. They're good vehicles. The expanded fleet has translated into faster response times, increased patrol coverage, and enhanced visibility of law enforcement personnel in the communities. These are critical factors in deterring crime and reassuring our communities. Presence deter criminals. Madam Speaker, for a professional to work efficiently and well in a high-stress and demanding environment, they need proper working conditions. Yes. They need clean working conditions. Yep. They need workplace where rain not they might forget up when rain fall and move them papers somewhere else. Or they have to get a pan put under some desk to protect it from being soaked. We therefore proceeded to rehabilitate and rebuild the police facilities across the island. It was done under a well-planned, organized program, Project Rebuild, Overhaul and Construct initiative, following an engineering assessment of all the stations. We sent engineer to look at them and grade them 1, 2, 3. 1 was in reasonable shape, we could repair it. 2 need major repair, and 3 we had to demolish and rebuild, and we have done so. The transformative program is aimed at creating a more professional, functional, and dignified work environment for our officers, while simultaneously enhancing the physical spaces where citizens engage with the officers. Every professional have a building. Lawyer of his chambers, doctor of the clinic, police must have a station, not just any building painted blue and white. Every police facility across the island has been positively impacted under the initiative, either through upgrades, refurbishment, or complete reconstruction. And we are currently, in fact, in further upgrade to ensure that all our front office will accept the technical equipment, the computers, etc., in good order. That when you go in there, it's not overheating because you know your conditioning, there's too much dust, and the computers get damaged quickly. We are conscious of the need to maintain the standards of the police force and where the young professionals work. And indeed, it's crucial because we have recruited 6,000 young police officers. They are the children of the digital age. They are used to computers. They are used to smartphones. They're not into the big book. And they don't write with double-line book again, just before their time. They are onto computers and screens and touch screens and that kind of thing, and even to AI. They talk into these things. So we have to ensure they have the proper tools to fight the criminals who themselves are trying to be more smart, but the police is smarter. We have opened 16 fully rehabilitated police stations across the island. The most recently, Lacovia and Frome. These state-of-the-art facilities are not only modern in design, and I want to emphasize, Madam Speaker, but environmentally resilient, meaning they feature solar power, saving on cost and maintenance, water storage systems, built-in communication redundancies. The standards are testament to the evolving standards of our policing infrastructure, and we are not done yet. 3 more police stations are currently under construction and are slated to be opened in the coming weeks. Stony Hill, Little London, and Anchovy.
Look at Stony Hill.
The member's time for speaking has expired. House Leader. Mike, please, House Leader.
Speaker, the member's time for speaking having been expired, we ask the House to grant the member sufficient time to complete his presentation.
No, it's a sufficient time. No. That's enough. It's a 15 minutes you give up. No. I thought that was it. No, it's a sufficient time. How much? So you allow me sufficient time. It's a 15 minutes. No, it's a sufficient time. 15 minutes. Request at that. Sufficient time. Request at that.
Madam Speaker, having his time expired for his presentation, we ask that you give the Speaker an additional 20 minutes to complete his presentation.
Members, the question is that the Speaker be given no more than 45 minutes to complete his presentation. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
Thank you. I guess 45. Right. We are in a good time. Thank you. Thank you, members. Thank you, Madam Speaker. In tandem with the improvements of physical infrastructure, we have implemented merit-based promotional pathways to reward excellence and enhance our career development in the force. I want to repeat that, Madam Speaker. In tandem with the improvements to physical infrastructure, we have implemented merit-based promotional pathways to reward excellence, enhance career development within the force. So officers will go on training programs when requested to, have been assessed by the commanding officers. They go through from constable to corporal, corporal to sergeant, sergeant to inspector, and inspector to deputy superintendent. All have specialized courses to ensure that they can accept supervisory and command role as they proceed smoothly into the career. Since 2024, 1,375 police officers, including 80 gazetted ranks, have been promoted to fill critical vacancies. This will ensure improved supervision, effective policy to increase the officer corps. As indicated in one of my earlier sectoral presentation, this is the first time in the history of the force that the officer corps is going to be moving toward, not even near there, toward the recommended ratio for efficient policing, that is 3 to 4% of the total strength of the police force. That's the object, and it's being done professionally by a commissioner who understands policing and is operating as a true commissioner. These strategic actions are not only designed to boost morale and professionalism within the force, but ensure officers feel valued, motivated, and supported as they carry out their vital duty in service to the people of Jamaica. Madam Speaker, this holistic and strategic development of the Jamaica Constabulary Force is part of a well-planned, long-term national security agenda.
Yes.
Not knee-jerk reaction.
Not knee-jerk at all.
Make a Don a star and find a star policeman to shoot him and say you have a plan. That was neither a plan. The part of our history we'll put behind us. It never worked, and it had nothing in there to make it work. That was what was called on by many a plan. You make some Don man, some criminal, a criminal, a star boy, and then you get a star boy police to go shoot him. And we have something done for crime and security. Foolishness. We could not even consider adopting that. Today we have a well-planned, long-term national development program for our security forces. By investing in our law enforcement professionals, leveraging cutting-edge technology, and maintaining a balanced approach between crime control and crime prevention, we have set a strong foundation for sustained crime reduction and public safety.
Here, here.
Madam Speaker, in all what we do, leadership is paramount.
Yes.
Indeed, it sets the tone. It determines the outcome. When the transformation of the JCF required firm political will, this administration, under the leadership of our Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Andrew Horace, rose to the occasion. Not only with the requisite resources and patience, but with the clarity of vision, constancy of purpose, and unwavering resolve to ensure we had a stronger society. At a time when many had lost confidence in the JCF and questioned whether their true transformation was even possible, when some believed that simply changing the name from force to service would suffice, this administration, this minister held steadfast to a new transformation vision. We believed then, as we believe now, that we did not need to look beyond our shores for a savior. Our faith was and remains in our own people. We believe in their competence, their intellectual capacity. We knew they were Jamaicans with experience, commitment, and leadership to implement the transformation of the vital national institution. We chose Jamaicans, we chose Jamaica. Madam Speaker, the Jamaica Constabulary Force emerging as a distinctly Jamaican institution, guided by capable and committed local leadership. At its helm are Jamaicans of integrity and vision, directing and inspiring of the brightest young talents our nation has to offer. And Madam Speaker, it's a pleasure. I invite you one day to attend the graduation ceremony at Twickenham Park when we see some of our finest young Jamaicans who have joined the Jamaica Constabulary Force. They operate with precision, yes, but we can sense in their curriculum, these are some bright youngsters we have coming into the force. Some with degrees, we have Teachers College, University, UTech, but we have the head boys from Titchfield, from Clarendon College, 8, 9 subjects. This was not heard of in earlier times. When you go there, that's what we have in the parade ground at graduation. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be there with them and to see their energy, their commitment, and their willingness to say they are committed to transforming not only the police force, but to bring peace and public safety to Jamaicans. They are accompanied by their families across Jamaica, and they come there and leave there still energetic and willing to take on the challenges, and have been doing so successfully. The transformation, initially guided by the leadership of our former Commissioner, Major General Anthony Anderson, was appointed in 2018. He came with 40 years of experience in security. His tenure laid a foundation for ongoing growth and institutional reform. Today, under the leadership of Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake, who emerged as a natural successor, we see a motivated and energized workforce. Madam Speaker, the transformation agenda has not only continued, but has progressed seamlessly, following one of the smoothest leadership transitions in the force's recent history. The force that is taking shape today is a data-driven, intelligence-led, and grounded in scientific, evidence-based approaches to modern policing. Nowhere is there more evident than in our strategic approach to combat gangs and dismantle criminal networks. Leader Commissioner Kevin Blake, under the leadership of Commissioner Kevin Blake, the JCF has embraced advanced analytical methods to enhance policing strategies. Notably, the force has integrated mathematical models in these operations. Indeed, should be noted, we don't give our own people credit now, Madam Speaker. We tend to always look at them differently and look for some other character from abroad and have a different background. But it was a gentleman by the name of Dr. Jonathan Farley, a professor at Vanderbilt University, who shares Caribbean roots, but his parents were academics in the US, Harvard lineage, who is now a specialist in using mathematical models to analyze and disrupt terrorist cells and gang cells, advising at the highest level of government, and still an advisor to all them because of the skills he uses, what is called the lattice theory, and other, but lattice theory in particular, mathematical models, to identify, using the evidence and information they have, intelligence, to identify the critical players in a gang or a terrorist cell and to remove them track them down, have them, remove them, because that, taking out those 3 or 4 key players, disrupt the gangs. Which is why today we have less than 100 gangs operating in Jamaica, because they brought that kind of analysis. And this is why I've said in here before, we're not on this, that we copy some intelligence-led operate for somebody. This is a systematic approach by the commissioner, who has trained persons around him, who operates at the highest level, and is recognized globally for his work. I'm thinking, what if I could find this, Professor Farley will have to say, you may not think, the Jamaican police was the brightest person, but you will have to meet Corporal Kevin Blake then, who was doing his work for his PhD, and indicating, and before he was doing his PhD, but was applying his mathematical skills to how we can disrupt gang and successfully do it in that way. His seminal application of the lattice theory and the theory of ordered sets, originally to address terrorist cells, as Professor Farley, are now being applied to the analysis and disruption of criminal gangs operating in Jamaica. I'll repeat that for the benefit of it. It won't take much time. Professor Farley's seminal applications of lattice theory and the theory of ordered sets, originally to address terrorist cells, dynamics, are now being applied to the analysis and disruption of criminal gangs operating in Jamaica. The work of the current commissioner, Dr. Kevin Blake, has been crucial in bringing this kind of work to Jamaica, and is respected internationally and globally as one of the individuals who bring that kind of work to the job. These models provide critical insights into the structure, behavior, and vulnerabilities of the organized crime networks, which have been terrorizing our community for many years. We can assure the public we'll identify the key players, we're going to apprehend them one way or the other, and we're going to break up these gangs and restore public order in Jamaica. We'll find them. When you do it this way, they cannot hide. We are a big island, but we are small. We'll find them all. Madam Speaker, this is innovation. This is deep thinking, data-driven policing. As a matter of fact, Madam Speaker, our very own Commissioner Kevin Blake has gained international recognition for his work in this area of mathematical modeling for targeted crime fighting. That's what I mean by focused, targeted operation in the police force, Madam Speaker. Not the old style, star boy shoot-up business. Okay, Carol. This empirical approach is producing the desired results through deliberate conflict monitoring, and therefore it does not include extrajudicial killing, Madam Speaker. It's not part of the culture of the force today. It's not part of our genetics. This government have no interest in that kind of activity. Now does this police force or this police commissioner, in fact, I wish to point out. It is about meticulous evidence gathering, the preparation of robust case files, and better position to secure successful prosecution, deliver justice. That is our objective, and I will repeat, don't shoot at the police. If you shoot at the police, don't expect the police to take a shot before returning fire. And I don't expect the police to miss. The minister is saying so. Ms. Nita Edley. Cannot afford to have the policemen. They are Jamaicans, bright young Jamaicans. They don't want nothing to hurt the family or themselves, and we have invested a lot in them. But as I hear my friend always say, okay, just to say, the pastor at the last funeral I went to, and I don't go to funerals of that sort very often, but she was very keen to say, a good pastor, Minister, you can't kill nobody, You're just a messenger of the Lord, and this year they were called plenty of them, and the police is the instrument, and the police, as an instrument of the Lord, he must be efficient, sure what he's doing. So just do your job, police officer. Since the start of 2025, Madam Speaker, where Commissioner has been able to apply his work, he has had to engage his officers, they have gone through their orientation and training. Some 63 gangs have been impacted through investigation operation efforts. 63. At one stage in this country, we had over 200 gangs operating. Down below 200. But in this period of quarter, we have seen 63 gangs being interrupted. They have not been all totally disrupted, but we are aware that they have been disrupted, they have been impacted by police investigation. 159 gang members have been arrested. 159 gang members in this quarter. Some 34 members have been charged with applicable offences, which include murder, firearm breach, and lotto scamming. 15 gang members have been charged under anti-gang legislation. Overall, 10 gang-related cases have been before the courts with 90 accused involved, currently before the courts. In fact, the Chief Justice is asking for a special court. And I've talked to my colleague here, Minister of Justice, that he needs to begin to look at it seriously because we are bringing more and more gang cases and they demand a lot of space and time. And the courts require to have that space.
We're looking at several
Plus,
places.
it does provide a risk in the court when you have hardened gunmen coming into an open space. It's difficult to manage. And in societies with high number of gangs, gang courts are designed and built to deal with the gangsters. We don't expect to have them forever. We'll disrupt them, dismantle them, lock them up, and when they're finished, we'll go to court for regular activity. During the first quarter of 2025, a total of 85 gangs were identified as active across all the 19 police divisions, which is way below the 350 which was there before. This represents a significant reduction when compared to over 120 last year, and before that, many more, reflecting a decrease of some 29% or 35% in this particular period. This downward trend is a clear indication that our strategy is gaining traction and delivering results in dismantling criminal networks and disrupting their operations. This is the power of focused, intelligence-driven policing. We are taking fight to the gangs, and we are winning.
Yes.
We know they are changing their own strategy. Scammers are doing things now using Bitcoin. They're going cyber. But our police officers are of the digital age. They too are going cyber. And in their teams, they work together with MOCA, JDF, and all the others. But the police force itself has the capacity and the willingness to take on new challenges and to train the officers to deal with this. As a result of their focused deterrence activity and the modeling they're doing, for the first time since structured data capture and disaggregation began in JSF, we are recording several historic achievements. My friends, several historic achievements. We have the lowest weekly murder count in 24 years within the 6 murders during Christmas. 24 years.
Wow.
We have the lowest murder count in 25 years.
Wow.
48 murders in February. And we are about to repeat that in April,
Yes.
Madam Speaker. Today, with 2 days to go, we are 42. Right? So we're looking at 2 successive months below 50. But it reflects a level of sustainability that was not envisaged even now, because we have the result of police officers doing their work and the other aides of government collaborating. And I would say some of our international partners have been cooperating, especially in the areas of advanced free. Now, scamming affects both us and our partners in North America, and it's the most corrosive and insidious activity. It brings in the money that finances the gangs locally, but it brings in the guns. It serves as a means of acquiring, brokering drug deals that the scammer can buy and transship. It involves trade finance, money laundering, and it undermines elements of the legal society. The court system seeks to undermine all aspects of Jamaican legal society. In ministries, courts, policing. It's a corrosive and serious activity, but we are going at them hard. The police is moving aggressively to apprehend them, along supported by all the aides of government, and we get excellent support from our partners who are affected because their citizens from which the money are stolen and brought to the country. Lowest quarterly murder total in 25 years.
Yes.
In the last quarter, Q1, we have had 187 murders only.
Wow.
If we continue along those lines, we'll have under 600 murders for the year. It's a never dream of that. We didn't set that target. Thank you, member. We didn't set that as a target at all. But I've always said to the commissioner, when you take out a certain number of the hardcore criminals, you inspire fear in others, you change operation, you get reduction, and it could become quite quickly. They will respond, you know. But I'll come to another point which shows they are fighting back, but the police is prepared. The most consecutive weeks with murder below 15. Most consecutive weeks with murder below 15 in 25 years. 11 weeks in Q1 of 2025.
Wow.
And a slight break 1 week, but it goes all the way back to September of 2024 if you look at it carefully. For 3 weeks. The lowest quarterly major crimes in 25 years, 898 cases in Q1 2025. So we are seeing enough indication that we are on a sustainable path because it's a full quarter, not 1 month, not a flash in the pan, not a one hit. We are seeing a steady decline in all areas. At the close of 2024, murder fell by 18.4%, building on a 7.3% decline in 2023, and now we are heading towards a 36% decline. Madam Speaker, we are not just reducing crime, we are changing the trajectory. Jamaica is firmly on the path to long-term, sustainable crime reduction, and its people look towards a time of peace and good order. The first quarter of 2025, the country recorded 187 murders. Third straight quarter of decline since Q2 of 2024, the second quarter of that. The chart up there shows that very clearly. It's a result of the continued investment and confidence in our police force that has resulted in this. Major crimes, even more compelling. Major crimes have now fallen for 6 consecutive quarters, starting from Q3 of 2023. Major crimes. That is, rape, robbery, and break-ins have under consistent reduction for 2023. That's when we are beginning to see impact of our investment in terms of mobility, better stations, and communication. When we examine the month of murder count since July 2024, we will see that you can take a look at the chart to get that. When we examine the monthly count since July 2024, the trend line, the green line here, you can look at the next chart coming up. I hope my team can put that up. Dashed line confirmed the general steady decline in murders. Not that one. You'll also, so far this year, January 1 to April 27, there have been 227 murders. This represents, today, 132 fewer lives lost, or a 37% reduction compared to their corresponding period in 2024. Major crimes are down by 19%. We are indeed going toward a time of good public safety. And my friend again said to me, and this is real, I was at a meeting there Wednesday evening. MP, I want to thank you for one thing. I can once again walk my community any time of the day. Go out at night, come in any time. People who work 24/7 in the hotel industry until the midnight shift, and the people, they come home. They used to have to, I had to go sleep with a friend, or rent a room somewhere downtown because they couldn't come home at night. They are coming home now. One of your supervisors, Mr. Jackson, a key supervisor for you, said to me, I want to thank you, Dr. Chang. You know, tell me, I don't ask you what you're going to vote for me, but in your supervisor. He said, I had to wait up all night till 2 o'clock to hear my daughter there, because she had come from her work out of Freeport, and she can't come now. She come home now. I see my daughter every day. Right? If the current downward trend in murders continue, we will have a reduction. If the current downward trend in murders continue as projected in the purple dash line, we are very much on track to record a few another 800 murders in 2025. This is the projection. I said the projection, if we continue where we are, will be way under 800. But let's be, I won't push too hard, but the police, being conservative, say look toward 800. The figure 800, Madam Speaker, is important. The members the same because it's the view of the experts who are both in the force, outside the force, and the academics that based on the fact that much of the murders in Jamaica are based on reprisal and using contract killings, when you get below 800, you'll be able to have a sustainable reduction and take it even lower down. When you're above 800, the reprisal rate is so high, even with a strong police force, we have a challenge maintaining a murder rate below the level we want. This would represent not only a historic low, but a victory for law-abiding citizens. The diagram is up on the screen now, and we can repeat and see what they say. You can see the trend as opposed to the projection. I say to the public, as I conclude, well, the screen is gone. Sorry. No. The blue line was the high last year. The green was our projection, and the dotted line is the trend. So it's going down. The middle line was the target we have set ourselves. The police force has set in consultation after they made their own prediction and they informed me accordingly. But the target, the line is much below that, and we expect it to stay that way. So, Madam Speaker, I want to say to the public, do not watch the headlines. Pay attention to these trends.
Yes.
In today's world, access to information through social media is faster than ever. Our headlines are often sensational, focusing on the negative while giving little attention to the positive. In some cases, they may even spread misinformation. That is why it is important to look beyond the noise. In some cases, they may even spread misinformation. That is why it is important to look beyond the noise and focus on the actual data and the long-term trends.
Yes.
Data-driven intelligence operation, Madam Speaker. Our relentless focus on the gangs and their weapon of choice, the gun, is paying dividends. Between January 1 and April 26, not only did we disrupt a lot of gangs, a total of 356 firearms were seized, marking a 21% increase over the same period in 2024. In addition, 9,605 rounds of ammunition have been recovered so far this year, a 130% increase compared to 2024. Of note, Madam Speaker, since November 2022, when the Firearm Prohibition, Restriction and Regulation Act came into effect, and we had unison on that one, thank you, there has been a steady increase in the recovery of firearms. I show the graph to you, Madam Speaker, because sometimes the excitement of having people convicted for life is not heard as frequent as we think it should be, now that the firearms are in place and they're being tried. But the court system goes this way, and we're not going to criticize them for that. It's justice may be slow, but it has to be sure. But there are strong signals, Madam Speaker. The tide has turned. If you look at the graph online, you'll see that since November, it really started November 2022 when the act was passed. But from 2022 until now, there's a steady increase in the number of firearms. And while I cannot give the detailed reports, I can see from the reports I receive from the police, there are many coming with the reports are targeted search, which means somebody gave them information to go to point X and you find a firearm, even when they don't get a chance to arrest anybody. That data could be disaggregated by the police. I don't have that, and I didn't think it was necessary. But what I want to show is that, oh, that's going again. This graph shows that for the impact of the legislation, oftentimes we complain about the strong legislation. Started immediately, almost. 2022, 2023, it went up, 2024 it went up, and 2025 is going up significantly in the number of firearms. I should say, in part of that too, is that we have increased the level of collaboration, cooperation with all agencies, just part of the object of our security plan. The Commissioner of Customs now sits on the National Security Council and work collaboratively with the Commissioner of Police, especially in border control and apprehending weapons and ammunition at the ports. Where are we going, Madam Speaker? We're not stopping here. We're still on the road of progress. We have to complete it in a third term. It was a difficult task we inherited, a mess we inherited, and we need the time to complete it. So did my preacher say it too.
Yes, we do.
The process of reform and modernization will continue. We are building a Jamaica conservative force that is institutionally resilient, ready to meet the future, and that future is emerging. But resilience to the fact that as an institution, Madam Speaker, they will not allow them to be subject to any manipulation by anyone. It will be defined not only by more modern infrastructure, but by iconic and aesthetically pleasing facilities.
Yes.
These include the proposed plaza will still be earmarked for downtown Kingston. At first, I think some were a bit skeptical of you and moving the police there, but it's part of an entire operation to restore the quality of life and the city of downtown Kingston, a capital city. So I can say this evening to the police officers who are listening, we'll be moving before them, because the Prime Minister has given instruction that the Ministry of National Security must be immediately started by the UDC and the Hero Circle, Government Circle proposal. So I have to move forward, right? And we'll be the first ministry to go there as a new ministry, because Government Circle depends on the economy from the rental pay to provide the capital for development. And we have already earmarked that, so we'll not be far from the police headquarters. But that police plaza, designed by a famous Jamaican architect, has already won international recognition. Its announcement has led to a significant level of acquisition of property downtown. And it will not be a speculative move. They will get their capital gains, because we are, in fact, going to develop downtown. The other aspects of downtown, in infrastructure, my colleague to my right, we have to speak of them, but they have to get basic infrastructure downtown in good order. But the police will be part of that development. In addition to that, the Westmoreland Development Headquarters at Landale is well underway.
Yes.
That's a photograph, groundbreaking on the current building. It's to set the standards. It is setting a new standard for police station in Westmoreland, where the development headquarters will go. A fantastic building. It will provide the quality service from acquisition of, just to serve the public there. It's criminal records, etc. You go there, digitally you get your thing within a short time. The St. Catherine North Division is well underway in Spanish Town.
Look at that.
A new structure. That's the architect's impression. But we are building
Disagree?
working police stations for our officers. Right? Technology gives us the problems here. I will advise the Parliament to seek the support of the police, technology department. It will deal with all technology. I'm confident that if Commissioner sends ACP Brown down here, you'll have this working properly without intersection. And if I have to go to the ministry, my peers will not hesitate to give the guidance to my commissioner to assist Parliament. The proposed Special Operation West in Montego Hills, staffed by a new generation of finest professional law enforcement officers, they are in procurement, they are well underway, and it will provide a base, not just a base for police officers, but Madam Speaker, we currently spend a horrendous amount on rental to keep the officers in Montego Bay. Montego Bay rental is high, even if you get a little tight back room. Everything in Montego Bay is measured in US dollars because it's a tourist destination. We can't afford to keep it. We are going to build a fine Operation West. It's in a good location, and they can have, in addition to proper residence for the professionals who will operate from there, they'll have additional technology equipment, because on a hilltop overlook all of Montego Bay. We're going to ensure that our police in the West, not only who is achieving outstanding records now, will continue to maintain peace and good order. I think Era 1, including Westmoreland, St. James, Hanover and Trelawney, which at one time both St. James and Westmoreland among the top 5 divisions for homicides are now among the lowest in the island. Officers deployed here by Commissioner ACP Miller and his team are doing excellent work and deserve the commendation of the entire region and us from the West. In addition, 6 police stations are slated for reconstruction and are currently advancing through the pre-investment phase. These stations are K Valley in St. Anne, Amity Hall and Granville in St. James, Amity Hall and Granville in St. James, Bull Bay, St. Andrew, Savamar in Westmoreland. It is the current police station we retained as a kind of city police center. Mocha in Clarendon, and of course, we should open the Anchovy station very soon. Equally important is the institutionalization of maintenance systems. So we are not just building new facilities. We are ensuring everything we build or procure is maintained and becomes sustainable. Finally, Madam Speaker, in our way forward, the C5 Center currently being rolled out will be a game changer. That is the cybersecurity, communication, computer, and center. This advanced command and control hub will integrate our technology system to provide real-time information and intelligence to our officers. That means quicker responses, more targeted intense operation, and better outcomes in fighting crimes and maintaining order. It will also give us data as we can relate to the other ministries as we work in the communities, because community policing is now rising as we reduce murders. CSSB department is now seen. Schools are asking for police officers now, not just because they are violent, but they want the police to ensure they maintain the order in there. And we work with the students in exposing them to opportunities and a better quality of life. We divert them to other areas working in the Ministry of Justice and their diversion program. Mobility will continue to be a critical force multiplier. That is why Rather than relying solely on capital budgets, we have made recurring allocations. And this is important, Madam Speaker. The old system was to wait until the cars and broke down. You turn to the break, them broke down, they can't move.
Yes.
Them crowd up the police here, and the police have nothing. You get a capital vote to buy a few vehicles, ease the pressure and give the impression that we're doing something for the police. What we have done, the police vehicle is an essential part of police operation. It's not a capital expense. A building is capital. You build, maintain, and it stays there. A police vehicle will have a lifetime. So we have to put it in the recurrent budget because it's an essential part of the process. And that's the important change we have realized.
Strategic planning.
So recurring allocation are made to a modern operational vehicle fleet. More motorcycles are being added to expand our quick response capabilities across the force. Crucial. Although I saw 2 unfortunate accidents reported this morning of officers and motorbike commissioner, we expressed our concern, but I know that it was not by, unfortunately, a risk that our officers take in all operations. Cabinet has approved, Madam Speaker, the Ministry's strategic master plan to expand Jamaica Eye. Surveillance network. These cameras will have all the qualities required. They have taken time to study where they should be located, because they cannot be allowed to invade anybody's privacy. And they also have to have a location where they will catch what we want to catch. They'll have license recognition capacity. They'll have facial recognition capacity. And therefore you can place them at strategic locations that not only monitor what is happening, but you will find the vehicles that are rolling around. And when we find them, and a policeman on the highway will not stop any vehicle. And they have arguments because I'm busy and I have to go on and stop me. They will stop the cars that they have on their database that they want. And they also will be prepared so you don't have any accident of man shooting police. Because you know a car coming is a car that have a threat risk. The officer will be prepared to receive them. If they choose to shoot, that's not my problem at that point. I know the police can take care of them.
That's your problem at
Not
all.
your problem at all.
No. Oh, you see. Hey, you're disrupting business, man. But I have to emphasize this kind of activity, Madam Speaker, because I have to inform the public where we're heading, what we're doing, and what to expect. We're at the end of it now. The 2,500 cameras will bring us to 6,000 devices, enabling a complete shift to digital ticketing. And in addition to the cameras, of course, we have in fact now brought the supporting for our ticketing system. 1,000 rugged handheld ticketing devices and 1,500 mobile printers will bring us to 6,000, therefore shift the ticketing and Minister of Justice to an entire smarter system, more consistent with traffic enforcement. So you have to bring the court system up in the Minister of Justice if you want to get this thing done on time. We are expanding our forensic capabilities. We have developed the forensic capabilities. Soon to be opened, the state-of-the-art forensic pathology autopsy suite, which will complete the Institute of Forensic Science and Legal Medicine, and certainly one of the best of anywhere, which will ensure intelligence and evidence gathering through science and technology on the forensic side, critical part of modern policing work. And especially in a country where we still have a challenge retaining, getting first-person affidavit as witness. Forensic science and technology is crucial to ensuring conviction. A key part of the transformation is the development of the National Police College of Jamaica into a true center of excellence. In 2024, the NPCJ achieved accreditation from the International Association of Directors of Law Enforcement Standards and Training, IADLEST, placing it among an elite group of global law enforcement training institutions. Additional accomplishments include program accreditation by the University Council of Jamaica, accredited training programs, status through NCVET of the hard training, new partnerships with local and international universities to broaden educational opportunities for officers. We'll continue to invest in the human capital of the JCF. Simultaneously, we are expanding the ISO 9000 quality management system to Jamaica Council to stations across the island. We are creating a professional culture, one that respects the dignity and rights of every Jamaican. Madam Speaker, in the training program, we are seeking to create and are creating a professional force with a culture that respects dignity and rights of every Jamaican. It's a new Jamaica Police Force. We're embedding quality service delivery into the police training to ensure respectful and professional interaction with the public at all times. We have redesigned police stations to be more welcoming, featuring reception areas instead of guard rooms, private interview rooms so domestic quarrels can be interviewed separately. All this is part of the evolution of a strong force for good, shaped by the sound policy of the government, backed by the government's financing of critical programs, guided by the visionary leadership within the force and the Ministry of National Security. Madam Speaker, our murder statistics are showing encouraging signs. Youth aged 15 to 24 account for only 10% of the murder victims so far this year, down from 17%. Maybe coming from not only the interaction of the zones of special operation, but since the police focused target operation, Madam Speaker, I hear coming out of some of the toughest areas that nobody wants to be done again. Everybody's having second thoughts about assuming leadership of gangs. Part, of course, the zone of special operation, they made a police impact, but there's also the fact that we are spending over $2.13 billion in programs run by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund in the zones of special operations, which is seeking to effect social transformation. And all agencies of government are asked to take part in what we do, are brought into to work in these areas. This figure is doubled when you add the cost of the security force. We intend to scale this up to address all the vulnerable communities, but it is costly. The cost we cannot afford not to pay, Madam Speaker. Building communities through social intervention was published by the ministry earlier this year, and I have brought copies here to show some of the work, because this is the kind of police that don't draw excitement. When people are being murdered, that's more interest to the public. But we have to, there'll be a shift, and the government is already pursuing this kind of activity, and we work with partners, private and public and international, to in fact expand social intervention. In 2024, Norwood and Augustown recorded 0 murders. Mount Salem 1, Savannah and Parade Gardens recorded 2 each, a reflection of the success of the zones of special operation. And I want to move it to the next, on the graph, which shows the impact of the zones of special operation, which has been criticized from time to time. Again, critical data analytics to show that impact is there. The dotted line is where the communities that were not treated are, and Denham Town and Mount Salem is in the solid line below. And Denham Town is one which has been posing significant problems. We have not got the progress we wanted, but it showed there's still significant improvement in the community as you look at that graph. Lives were not only saved, but transformed under the zones of special operation. We have other diagrams showing, and I will not exceed. Interministerial School Support Program, active in 37 schools. We will work with the ministry to expand that. Live Good Program, anti-violence campaign has been maintained active presence in schools across the island in zones of special operation. The legislative agenda depends on responsive policy. Much of what we aim to achieve in the communities across Jamaica depends on a responsive policy and a robust legislative framework. Institutionalization and sustainability of our intervention can only be realized through the passage and enforcement of appropriate laws. The Zones of Special Operation Law Reform, Zones of Special Operations, Special Security and Community Development Measures Act is one of the key pieces of legislation we have passed in this area. But of course, we did complete the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency. We started the previous administration. We have amended the Trafficking Persons Act, the Process of Crime Act, and of course introduced the Firearm Prohibition, Restriction and Legislation Act. We have reviewed the anti-gang legislation, and we have made amendments to the Correction Act, and we are tabling the policy today in the House. Madam Speaker, very soon we will table the Immigration Restriction Commonwealth Citizens Act and Aliens Act in order to ensure better border control. And in the process, not only are we a chaos, but we are acquiring an integrated border management system. It will cost us a pretty penny, and it will take us a little while to fully establish, but pretty soon. In concluding, Madam Speaker, This government is deeply committed to public order and public safety. We care about the lives of all Jamaicans. As a result, we made a commitment to the Jamaican people and invested significantly in our national security.
Yes, we did.
$9 billion is not change, Madam Speaker. That's the kind of money we put in national security annually. Capital, beside recurrent, which I won't go into, which may be triple that. We have transformed our police force into a modern, highly professional law enforcement team, one rooted in Jamaican culture and grounded in respect for the dignity and rights of our people.
Yeah.
You'll find incident. It's 14,000 Jamaicans. What I can assure the public, if an incident happened that you're not happy with, and you think the police officer operated excessively, call your superintendent or the commissioner's office. They are willing to hear and listen. The leadership of the force is committed to a professional force that treats its citizens with respect. It will be the exception when you meet that, but the exception made the news. But what I want to assure the public, if you meet it and you call your superintendent or your assistant commissioner or the commissioner, they make themselves available, they will deal with it within the force. This is an ongoing process to transform, but today we are already seeing remarkable results. Historically low crime figures, reduced carnage on the roadways, record firearm seizures, and most importantly, the restoration of opportunity and hope for those in our most vulnerable communities. To all Jamaicans listening to my voice here and abroad, Madam Speaker, I know many are tired of seeing and hearing about crime, but I want you to know this government is working for you. So choose the government that cares, the government that listens, the government that delivers, the government that invests where it matters. In the third term, with peace, prosperity, and good order, the people of Jamaica will realize, I'm speaking as a member of the government, the country will understand what it means where we are going, and they are going to follow. I will build a road for safety and public order, which is the road on which you can get development and progress. The people of Jamaica will realize their dreams and their aspiration in that. We say, choose Jamaica, choose progress, choose peace, choose Dr. Andrew Michael Horace. May God bless our country.
New KFC saucy wings. Attention all wings lovers. KFC saucy wings with 2 new